20 minutes to midnight. You don't know what time it is. Down here, at the very bottom of the largest ship in human history, time doesn't exist. There is only coal, heat, and a deafening roar. Sweat dries on your skin before it has a chance to run. A 13-pound shovel is lifted and swung every few seconds for the 4th hour straight. You are in Boiler Room 6, located at the very bow of the ship, right at the very bottom. 10 decks above you, first-class passengers in tuxedos sip brandy in the smoking lounge, while an orchestra plays in the grand hall. Above you sits $200 million of someone else's fortune. Diamonds, furs, and the fates of people every newspaper in the world will be writing about tomorrow. But you don't think about any of that. You only think about the shovel. April 1912, Southampton. You signed on to the Titanic a week before she sailed. Not because you dreamed of it, but because it pays. A fireman on a transatlantic liner makes £6 a month. You have a wife and 2 kids, and your oldest boy has been asking for new boots for 2 months now. The sole on his left one wore through, so he stuffed the hole with cardboard. You signed the contract without even reading it. They showed you the boiler room. There are 6 boilers in a row, each the size of a 2-story house, with 29 of them on the whole ship. Together, they burn 700 tons of coal a day. That steam turns 3 propellers and drags 46,000 tons of steel, wood, and human lives across the Atlantic. Your job is to keep the boilers fed. The temperature inside is 104 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter what it is like outside, and coal dust hangs in the air like fog. Burns from sparks don't even count as injuries down here. They are just part of the shift. An old fireman named Thomas told you on your first day that nobody lasts more than a month in the boiler room. After that, you either walk out or you get carried out. You laughed it off because boots don't buy themselves. 11 p.m., Boiler Room 6, the 5th day of the crossing. The watch runs for 4 hours straight with no break. You grab the shovel, scoop up coal, and swing open the furnace door. A wave of heat hits your face like a fist as you throw the coal in, close it, and scoop again. You do this thousands of times a watch until your hands can't feel the handle anymore and your back has gone completely numb. Somewhere far above you is the Atlantic. It is night, quiet, and full of stars. It is 28 degrees up there and dead calm, with black water resting as flat as glass without a single wave. But you don't know any of that. You only know heat and cold. Jim relieves you. He is a young lad from Belfast in his first year at sea. You hand him the shovel, sit down on a wooden crate, and drink warm water that tastes like metal. Chief Fireman Frederick Barrett stands by the gauge. The pressure is normal and everything is routine. The day after tomorrow, you will be in New York. You think about your son trying on his new boots, and thinking about that, you are almost asleep. 11:39 p.m. Barrett says something to you. It is always so loud down here that men talk with hand signals. You look at him questioningly, and he opens his mouth again. And in that exact second, impact. It is not an explosion. It is worse than an explosion. An explosion is 1 second and 1 blow. This is a long, drawn-out, rising screech coming from somewhere ahead and to the right, and it just doesn't stop. It sounds like the ship itself is screaming in pain as metal tears like paper, and steel hull plates split apart at the seams like fabric. Then there is silence for half a second. Then comes the water. It doesn't pour into the boiler room. It slams in like a solid wall. Churning, black, and freezing, it knocks Jim off his feet because he was standing closest to the hull. A red light flashes above the watertight door in the bulkhead, signaling the emergency. The doors start sinking down, slow and heavy. Barrett shouts for everyone to get up and head to the emergency ladder. You run. The water is already at your ankles. It is ice cold, and it burns worse than boiling water after being in the 104-degree boiler room. You reach the ladder and climb up to F deck. 11:45 p.m. You stand in the corridor looking at each other. 8 men, all alive. An officer comes down the corridor and stops. He tells you to go back down, shut the dampers, and kill the fires. You look at him, and then you look at the ladder you just climbed out of. From below, you can hear water rushing into the boiler room. You tell him there is water down there. He says he knows and orders you to carry out the order. You go back down. The water is up to your knees now. It is black and freezing with coal dust and engine oil floating in it. The job is to shut the dampers and vent the steam pressure. If the boilers keep running while water fills the room, the pressure will drop fast and unevenly, causing the boilers to blow. And if the boilers blow, the ship goes down that much faster. The people up top right now, who don't know a thing, won't make it to the boats in time. You know this, and that is why you go. The water keeps rising while you work, reaching your knees and then your thighs. You shut the damper on one boiler, and the steam scalds your hands. You move to the next. The water is at your waist now, and your body is going numb from the bottom up. Barrett works beside you, silent and focused. He acts as if it is just another watch, as if he is not standing waist-deep in freezing water on a sinking ship. 5 minutes later, the dampers are shut and the pressure is vented. Boiler room 6 is dead. Barrett says it is time to go. 12:25 a.m. You climb up through the decks, and the higher you go, the more people you see. First-class passengers in coats thrown over nightgowns stand around in groups talking. Someone is laughing. Someone else is holding a glass of wine brought straight out of the dining room, while another person is photographing the iceberg that is already drifting behind the ship. You look at these people and think that they don't understand. You saw the water from the inside, standing waist-deep in it while it filled the boiler room. You are not an engineer, and you are not the captain, but you are a fireman, and you understand one undeniable thing. The ship is sinking. And yet, they are standing there with their wine glasses, photographing an iceberg. Somewhere below, the orchestra starts to play. 1 in the morning. The Titanic carries 20 lifeboats for 2,200 people. You look at the boats, then at the crowd, and you stop counting. The first boats go down half empty because first-class passengers don't believe the ship is sinking, and they refuse to board. Why get into a small, cold boat in the middle of the Atlantic when the ship is so big and warm, and the orchestra is still playing? You stand by the rail in your soaked overalls. A man in a tuxedo walks past with a cigar. He glances at you and looks away. A fireman on the boat deck is out of place, like a smudge of dirt on a clean tablecloth. 1:40 a.m. The bow is going under. The deck is tilting forward, and you can feel it in your feet. The passengers are finally starting to understand. The crowd at the boats packs tighter. There is screaming, and someone is crying. You think about your wife, about home, and about the letter you never wrote before the voyage. You meant to, but you never got around to it. The deck tilts another degree. 2:05 a.m. Barrett grabs your sleeve and pulls you toward the rail. An officer tells you to get in. You climb into the boat, sit down, and look back at the Titanic. The bow has gone under, maybe 50 feet down, and the stern is rising into the air. Yellow electric light still pours from the portholes. You know that the firemen who stayed below at the boilers are keeping the steam pressure up so the pumps and the lights keep running. You understand exactly what that means. The boat starts to lower. It pulls away from the hull, maybe 100 yards out. You sit there in your wet overalls in 28-degree weather, shaking so hard your teeth chatter. A woman in a fur coat beside you offers you a blanket, and you take it. The stern is standing almost straight up now. The 3 propellers, the very ones you fed coal to for 3 straight days, jut into the night sky. People are falling from the rail into the water by the hundreds. You hear screaming, so many voices, until the freezing Atlantic silences them one by one. 2:20 a.m. The Titanic goes under. The bow goes first, followed by the middle. Then the stern sinks into the black water, slowly and almost solemnly. The lights go out all at once, and the last thing you see is the silhouette of the stern against a sky full of stars. Then there is silence. This is followed by the screams of people in the water. Someone in the boat says you have to go back because there are people out there. Someone else says you can't because they will swamp you. You don't go back. There is not a penny in your pocket. because the contract ends the moment the ship goes down, meaning there are no wages for the voyage. That is the rule. You think about the boots for your son. 4:10 a.m. The steamship Carpathia arrives. They pull you aboard and give you hot tea, blankets, and dry clothes. You sit on deck and watch the sun rise over the Atlantic. There is a pink sky, a calm sea, and icebergs in the distance that look white and beautiful from far away. Out of 2,200 people, 712 survived. Out of 163 firemen, only 45 lived. The ones who stayed at the boilers until the end kept the lights and the pumps running. Because of them, the ship stayed afloat 40 minutes longer. And because of those 40 minutes, some of the people made it to the boats in time. Their names aren't printed in any newspaper. There are no photographs and no interviews. There is just testimony from the survivors at the inquiries in Washington and London. A few pages of dry, official text. And there is a memorial in Liverpool, a stone monument with names on it. Ordinary people from ordinary streets. Firemen, barbers, and engine greasers. You went home, and your son got his boots.